in case Iran can't get their nukes here for some reason. Uh, it doesn't matter who's doing the destroying at this point. It's going to be allowed, because if our government isn't doing it themselves, they're going to sit back and let somebody else do it. They're all working together. They all worship the same Satan. And so it's not when, but it's not if but when. That's what I mean to say. It's when it's going to happen, and how many cities at one time are going to be destroyed. You know, Atlanta, Georgia, was supposed to be the East Coast capital of the New World Order, and Denver, Colorado, was supposed to be the West Coast. And so, and they've always planned, for some reason, bomb 3 southern cities. And I don't know why. Charleston, South Carolina has always been one of them. Houston's been another. And I think Birmingham, Alabama. And so it could be why they have so many coffins heading south. You know, if you first time you can't succeed, try again. It's they just keep trying. Columbia and Charleston, South Carolina, Houston, Texas. Those have been their false flag targets for umpteen years. And big mouths on the internet have always exposed it, and so they would cancel or delay their plans. I know I was exposing their Miami attack years ago. They were going to take out Miami, hit that nuclear reactor they had in Miami, and say the Syrians did it and use that as a justification to bomb Syria at the time. And you know what? They're just eventually going to have to shut up the big mouths on the internet if they want to do anything, because too many people exposing their plans before they can get them off, and then they have to delay, cancel, come up with something new. And they really don't come up with anything new. They just wait a couple of years, hope it dies, and then come up with it again. So I think that they're going to go after the Empire State Building. I've been seeing that term empire a lot, just in news stories and stuff, and so it's kind of like a trigger. It's like, why do they keep mentioning empire this, empire that? Are they going to hit the Empire State Building? Almost like it's like a code word. They're telling everybody. Because I know for a while after the WTC was destroyed, they blew that up, that the next target was going to be the Sears Tower in Chicago, and that got foiled because the truck with the explosives that was heading toward Chicago was pulled over on the highway, and there's a big shaboo thing there. Anyway, it prevented it from going to Chicago. And so the Sears Tower thing never happened. And so now it's like you sit back and you get these code words about empire building, and so you're thinking, it's the Empire State Building they're going after. And so you really got to wonder. So just, if the Lord's telling you to leave an area, leave a particular state, leave it. I've always been a big fan of the Midwestern areas, eastern Colorado, eastern Oklahoma, north central Arkansas, southern Missouri. Just ask the Lord. Look at a map and draw a circle using the western part of Colorado as your border, and just going to draw a circle around those states that are there, and you'll see what I'm talking about, because that's going to probably be the safest areas to be in. I tend to think I'm pretty safe where I'm at, and there's probably other places as well, but you don't want to get too close to get away from the coastlines. I was worried about Lake Erie. Am I far enough away from Lake Erie? Because I can see Lake Erie coming in 30, 50, 100 miles, and so I do think I'm far enough from Lake Erie to get hit by that one, when that one just spills over and spreads everywhere. And, if you're up in like Toledo and Sandusky areas of Ohio, in Michigan, you're on the bordering area of the lakes there, just ask the Lord if you should get out of there, because the Great Lakes are going to spill over. I've seen that for years. I don't know if it's what it is, but I've had dreams of that for years, just seeing Lake Erie come in 30, 50 miles. And in Ohio, a huge bulk of the population is within 30 miles of the lake all the way across the state, The suburbs, the cities, it would just be a huge loss. And so, just ask the Lord to guide your thoughts on where to go, what to do. Hey, Sherry, with the government making us go digital by February 2009, do you think this would be a good target date for my trade to come, or something else big? I just don't see the government ever doing anything to our advantage, because they won't. Also, was in 2009 as a key year as well. Yeah, 2009 is the year from hell. I've been seeing that since 2001. 2003 has not changed. I believe my trade, if it didn't come this February and March, it would be the next one. And so definitely next year he's really going to have to make his entrance known because they're running out of time. I mean, the clock starts ticking here, and he's already here. What they're hesitant because they've lost so many of their forces. See, there's so much that goes on in the background, and I try to tell you guys this, and I know you'll never realize it because you can't see it for yourself. And it's almost one of these things where if you'd actually see it with your own eyes, you could believe it a little bit better, I think. But we have done so much actual destruction with our Orgone already. The Orgone warriors, just people getting Orgone out, it's killed so many of their alien forces already. He's afraid to bring his forces and make his presence known, and so I think it's really funny. We're delaying it. Sometimes we're our own worst enemies because most of us we just want to go home. You know, you get exhausted, you're tired, you want to go home. But at the same time, you're delaying everything because they're delaying their plans because of what you're doing, and it's, you know, eventually the Lord's going to put his foot down and say, that's it, let's get going. And so just always derision in their kingdom. And it's one of the things that we pray for all the time. And so the Lord answers our prayers. And so, you know, you can't always win. You know, when we pray for derision, it stalls plans. It stalls things because then they're in derision and they can't get things going. And I see it all the time. They're fearful. They're in derision. That Satan himself is ashamed and humiliated. And so don't know if that's present or future. I imagine it's a little bit of both because they're hesitant on coming. I know without a doubt we took their Capricorn out of the sky last March. And so it's just a war. You don't always see it with your eyes. Ask the Lord to reveal it to you. I can see it in the Bible codes, and as I'm looking in the Bible codes, the Lord will reveal things to me and let me see things. And it's just things I don't explain very well. You know, it's hard to explain some of the stuff so you guys can understand it. I try. You know, there's nothing I won't say that unless it's going to hurt the Lord's people themselves, like maybe not revealing too much info at once so that it buys the Lord's people time or whatever. Like when all the gold was gone and stuff like that. I didn't release that because I knew we just weren't ready then. Because everything happening now with the housing markets and everything would have been happening last year. And so instead of now, it's happening now. People have had a little bit more time over the year. I'm not finding that having more time does a lot of good. Giving people more and more time is doing much better than just having things happen. I don't know. Eventually I can see where things are just going to go from being warriors to being evangelists and just preaching Yahuwah's salvation because people are going to have a choice to live. They're going to be living or dying, barely living and a lot dying. And our tactics are going to change. We're going to go from outright warriors to evangelists. And so I can see that happening at a certain time. Question from a listener. Have you heard of Eugene Colson, MK Ultra victim in Area 51 eyewitness? He was on Daniel Out this past Saturday night. Testified a person who saw this. Degrees are made from 15-year-old girls hooked up to life support and used as hosts. Then they are killed off when they are done with them. Really scary stuff at Area 51. I wouldn't doubt it. Would you agree with this? Do clones made in this manner have souls? No, clones do not have souls. They're soulless beings. You know, I just wouldn't doubt it. Anybody could probably tell me anything. It's like, I don't doubt it. You know, Area 51 was at one time a secret military base, and the aliens kind of pretty much took over it. And the humans don't really own it now, run it. The aliens have taken over, and almost like Area 52 and 53, and, you know. I found it amusing years ago when I was doing research and stumbled on, it was Area 52 or 53, it was the place